Everybody sort of assumes the E is silent, and we're changing the brand name. So honestly, it's not a very good one. I came up with it when I was 17, and I'm like, okay, I should probably not. So it was supposed to be vegan plus anarchy, like inspired by the Joker from Batman. But I understand why that's not the best name to have for a consumer-facing brand or any brand. So yeah, but I think we're launching nationwide in about 2-3 weeks. We'll be one of the first companies, the first company in the world to make a shelf-stable plant-based yogurt, and yeah, we want to take it nationwide. We can ship anywhere now, given that our products just don't spoil for a year. And yeah, that's what we're focusing on. We're racing to make that happen.
Dude, I'm just gonna do a Facebook Live real quick.
Sure thing.
I want you to just explain what you just said.
Sure thing. Yeah.
Just 1 second. I'll just set it up. Making plant-based. What's the good
food accessible and affordable. That's the exact phrasing we use.
Making vegan lifestyle affordable in India
and accessible, that too, I think.
Got it.
Okay. Yeah,
affordable in India. Boom. It's gonna start live. So where are you right now? You said what city?
I'm in Bangalore.
Bangalore. How big is it? Pretty big, or?
It's a pretty big city. I mean, although everybody really knows it for two things. One is it's a pretty good startup hub. The second one, it's got a lot of traffic. So if you leave Bangalore at 8 o'clock, if you leave home and you're in Bangalore and you leave at 8 o'clock in the morning, you're bound to be stuck in traffic. I don't know, for about an hour or so. So that's the two things Bangalore is famous for.
And like, what's the point of like starting your business in Bangalore?
I just live here, so it was just, I don't know. It was, I think, it's just where we live, and that's how we started. But we're pretty lucky though. Bangalore is one of the, I think, the 15 best startup hubs in the world. So we're in the right place. I think it's got a great startup culture, and Bangalore is a city that's generally known for its culture. And I think I'm in the right place. Yeah.
So tell me about like, why is it known to be a startup like hub? Like, are there a lot of colleges or a lot of the startup? What's that? Where is that coming from? The startup feelings in Bangalore?
There are a lot of startups. Honestly, Bangalore is known for just being a startup hub, and really every area you'd find just like hundreds of startups. Some of them running from their garages in their homes, and yeah, I think the city is in general just been more encouraging of growing entrepreneurship. And the culture is definitely there. We've got a bunch of very hotshot entrepreneurs here, and they do events and inspire people.
That's so dope, dude. Especially in India. Like in US, you see that, but even some parts of US, you don't see that. Like, like in US, it's very like, it feels very like saturated in cities. So it's like you go to New York City, you go to San Francisco, and that's where the hubs are. And then the rest of America is like kind of getting into it now.
Yeah, I imagine. But there are a few other startup hubs, but I don't think anything comes close to Bangalore in India, at least. Yeah.
No, that's really good, dude. So when you started Veganarchy, or now you changed the name, I said, tell me a little bit about that. Like, what was going through your head?
So I started a non-profit when I was 16, and we're just a bunch of teenagers doing animal rights activism on the streets. Holding banners, handing out leaflets, that kind of stuff. And we sort of got around to doing it in about 10 cities in India. We were in a pretty big movement, especially for youth activists. A lot of people came to me and they said, being vegan is expensive in India. And that was one of the few arguments I couldn't really contest. I had to agree to it because it was true. Veganism, not really veganism, but vegan alternative products like plant-based dairy products like soy milk, almond milk, and other plant-based milks. They're just pretty expensive in India. I'm not sure how it is in the States. When I went there, I did see a lot of choices, but I never really got around to comparing the price difference. Really, I don't think it's a lot. But in India, it's a lot. So I think you'd pay about 50 rupees for a liter of milk in India. But for almond milk, you essentially end up paying 300, 400 rupees. And that's quite a lot of difference. So we really wanted to make it more affordable and accessible, just so that we could say, okay, here's an option for you should you want an affordable one. And that's how it all started for us. Yeah.
And yeah, even in states, like I have clients who like just want the vegan diet, and to get them to get the results, which are totally possible, they like there's still a price, like because everybody else, the majority of demand comes from the non-vegan population. So like that
Right.
area is so like all right. So you figured out the need that is definitely there. What was the next step? Like just was building a company the right way to do it, or like you came up with you already had the idea for a product in mind that you're like I can launch this cheaper and give them the alternative.
Right. Oh well, my parents turned vegan about 7.5 years ago, and my sister and I turned vegan about 7 years ago. So we've been making plant-based alternatives at home anyway. So we knew the products, we knew their formulations. Although of course, it's a entirely different matter to commercialize it as we are trying to do now. But for the most part, we knew what we had to do and what products we had to launch, simply because that was the one. Those are the ones we really consumed the most at home. So we thought of giving it a shot and launching these products and seeing what happens. Yeah, so I think we knew what the product was. We never really incorporated until very recently, just like last year. We've been around for a while. I mean, we've done a few pilot runs and all that, but not as a company. There were products much before there was a company.
Nice. And how did the market reacted? So let's say when you like finalized the product was ready to go, and then you went on the streets, or how was that approach like?
We've always just been on social media. We've been posting online. Thankfully, the Bangalore crowd has been fantastic, and for us, the definition of a final product has been really changing constantly. For us, the final product was, I think, if you'd asked me the same question a year ago, I'd say it was just something that just came out of a blender that we made, bottled, and sent. But now, if you ask me the same question, I'm going to tell you that for us, the definition of a final product right now is something shelf stable, something that can be sent across anywhere without spoilage. And I think 2 or 3 months from now, that definition for us would be something that has a label around it that's fully compliant, fully there in terms of its nutritional label, all of that, right? Like how any other FMCG brand would do it. So that's been changing for us, and I think we're really excited to see what happens. I mean, what this answer would be for us, maybe 10 months down the line. So yeah, that's where we are right now.
Oh, that's really cool. So like social media has been your main advertising platform.
Absolutely, the only one as of now.
Wow. So how's the advertising on like TV channels or newspapers? How is that in India? Is that a
It's
big deal?
pretty expensive, so you need to sort of really have a lot of money if you want to do those. Although there's always organic ways of doing that, I suppose. I mean, we've been in a few interviews in newspapers and magazines. I think even on TV once. I think that's been helpful for sure. But if you really want to sort of push your product, you got to have a lot of money to spend. That's for sure.
Actually, yeah. And the social media, I'm sure, like even in India, is killing it right now, right? Like a lot of people.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I see one thing that you're really good at, and the reason that I noticed you is you are using your like personal brand to promote that side of the business, and that's like hard to do at times, but
Yeah.
it's key. Tell me a little about that.
I think I had a bit of a following as an activist, and that really sort of translated into a bit of business for us when we sort of really started focusing on the company. I think that's all there is to say about it. I don't know. I think most startups in general have someone as their personal brand when they begin with, and then they become sort of this big faceless corporation. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
No, that's like it's yeah, I totally agree. Like in the beginning, but the thing here in US is like this. Like I wish like I was saying, in big cities, everybody's doing startups.
Right.
You're on like the Midwest, or when you're on a lot of the areas here, startups are common, but they're not encouraged by the parents. Like
Uh huh.
every parent still like wants you to have a solid job and not like be too out there.
Uh
Um,
huh.
so I think that's where a lot of the kids get scared to promote their own brand, things they're like passionate about. Like more people are passionate about political things than they are about a bigger purpose. Like very few people
Sure.
actually have like crazy dreams that hey, I'm gonna make
Mhm.
plant-based food in India more affordable. Like you don't hear that. And I think like that's something that US definitely needs to work on in their education system or somewhere, because somewhere along the line we pull that entrepreneur out of kid. Like we just take it out. we
Right.
make them bound by the reality so much that they just think they can never do it.
Right.
So that's really cool. Um,
If I might add to that, like it's not a whole lot different in India. Like a lot of people, a lot of parents just want their kids to be in a regular, stable job that gives them a fixed monthly income. I think in that capacity, I don't think our countries are all that different. Um, but I've been lucky in that my parents have been incredibly encouraging and supportive. I'm sure you must have seen on Facebook that my mother is my business partner. We own the business, the two of us, and I think we would be nowhere had it not been for her support and all the work she's been doing for us. So yeah, I guess I'm one of the few lucky ones. But for the most part, India still has a long way to go before parents really get to accept the fact that their kids want to start up and not
oh
be
yeah.
in a stable job.
Like, I mean, it's really common. Like, I know this one guy, and he's like a medical doctor in the day, and at
Uh-huh.
night he's a rapper. Like he loves.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So like, and I remember he was doing an interview, and somebody asked, he's Pakistani, and I remember he was doing an interview, and somebody asked him like, why both? And he said when he was young, he wanted to be a rapper so bad that his dad said, you can be a rapper if you become a doctor. And he like
Right.
he loves both. Like he loves being a doctor too, but it's like we're programmed, and it's so like it's interesting to me. Like
Sure.
see all that. Like it's being a doctor is success in the eyes of society. Being a
Right.
rapper puts you in the other category. But in your own self, you know that being a rapper is harder at times because being a doctor is very structured. Like you go through the pipeline and you become a doctor. It's hard. It's hard. I mean, I'm going through it right now, but it's structured. Like you go
Sure.
through schooling, you go through this, everything's planned already. Being a rapper, like being starting a business, no planning. Like you're
Sure.
literally figuring it out as you go, and that's hard.
Absolutely.
What do you say about
Right.
that?
I think I'd absolutely agree. In fact, there's just been no pipeline for us at all. I mean, in terms of vision, if we know where A is and we know where Z is, but we really had to figure out where all the rest of the alphabets fit in. And for the most part, it's just enjoying and sometimes feeling really bad about the journey. But yeah, I get what you say about doing things that are not structured. But I think that they're meaningful and they offer me a lot of meaning and purpose. So I definitely love it.
No, dude, that's what drives us, and that is so awesome. Your parents, so when you started, they were the one that had the recipe, or how did both of you get that put together?
Right. I mean, the recipe as such is fairly available online. So if you want to make it at home, you'll find these recipes. The challenge is to commercialize them. So just like your grandmom probably makes an amazing jam, but it's altogether another thing to get it on the shelf and have it sell. So the challenge for us was to figure that part out because making almond milk is really easy. You just take a few almonds, put water, and just blend them.
Uh,
But yeah, that's about it if you want to make it at home. But if you really want to commercialize it, then comes the issue of making it shelf stable, making sure it doesn't spoil, making sure it has no germs that are going to cause problems to the people who drink it. So there's all of that.
and how did you guys figure those problems out before you put it out on the shelf, or you guys realized that after you were already out there?
No, I wish we figured it out before we put it in the market. We're not on any retail stores yet, so I'd say there's still some ways off before we get there. But yeah, no, we did not figure it out before we hit the markets.
That's yeah, because that's like one of those problems that just it's like a lot of people just wait till their product is perfect, and I
Right,
think like
right.
the common advice right now is put it out there and iterate. Like
Right. Yeah. One of the things we learned through the fellows program was that you go put it out there and just rapidly get feedback and work on it. I think that's been sort of the modus operandi with us. I read this quote that says, "Don't let perfection be the enemy of good," and that's I think what we're trying to strive. We know we'll never have a perfect product anytime soon, but I don't think that'll stop us from having a good product.
that is really neat, dude. And like, when do you go to a lot of like expos, or where do you guys like actually like have people sample your products? Because it's
We do go to a few of them, at least the ones that aren't very expensive. So we do have a few stalls, and we've been doing that for a while. Although I guess there's still a bit of work we need to do on the branding before we can say these really lead to some results that we can measure. I think they've been. I don't know. I can't quantify it. That's just where I am. We are right now, I guess.
no, that's really neat. And so currently, do you guys have like a hardware or I mean a warehouse where you guys actually do a lot of putting together the product, or you do it at your house?
Well, our house is sort of now a quasi factory, I think. So we have all these commercial machines, but they're just still at home. So yeah, our house is where we do everything. But I think we're finding less and less space to live in because there's so many machines and product to stock. So yeah, I think we should be moving out sometime soon.
No,
Yeah.
that's cool. And it's like like you don't need to. Yeah, a lot of people. I think like you were saying earlier, like the most important thing is the product and making sure that's successful, and
Right.
all the other things are just supporting that fact. Like how can we make
Absolutely.
that product perfect, or how can we make a great product? So that's all. That's really good, dude. I know you have to go to bed.
Not bad. I just have another Skype call.
Skype call.
But yeah, lovely speaking to you more.
Dude, it was awesome. Hopefully Facebook audience gets some value out of this. And then yeah, let's do a now that we know each other better, let's do a
Hell
podcast
yes.
sometimes, and I would love to have you.
Awesome. Sounds great. Looking forward to
All
it.
right, buddy. Take care.
Cheers.